What is up, everybody? Welcome to the South Star Classroom. This is episode 168. Jeez, man, 168. My goodness. So whether you just have been rocking with us from day one or you are new here, I am just grateful that you spent some time with me today. And I know it's a holiday, so happy holidays to everybody that is out there. My team is taking a much needed rest and break with their family and their loved ones. I'm just a workaholic and I just need to accept it. It's just who I am. It's just in the DNA. But I am very happy. I'm very happy to be here. And to me, this is going to be a very special episode. Hey, Bill. And Bill, I want you to keep it coming. I told you I was in Joliet a few weeks ago. I had to get some work done. But yeah, man. But this is a special episode. It's a solo one. And as we close out 2024, I just want to reflect on this year. I want to talk about the wins, the lessons, and the growth. And, I'm also looking ahead to 2025. I've been reflective like this at the end of the year since I was a teenager. And this year I'm doing it with this platform that we started together. But this isn't just about what I've done. It's about, what we've built together. So let's just go through this journey real quick. Some of you have been around since my old AM radio show years ago that I think I did for like 3 or 4 years. Love doing that. Love doing that show with my co-host, Brandon Miller and RMG and that whole crew, man. It was, Dion was like a mastermind around building out that show and found me and saw that I had talent. So then took that and eventually linked up with, Chris and Ray and Sharif, and we built together the 8 Black Hands. So some of you came from there. Some of you came from Omar. Omar brought some fans in here. David brought some fans. Jubilee absolutely brought some fans. So however you got here, I appreciate you being here. And as we get into this, I really want to invite you to contribute. I want you to drop your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas in the comments. I really want this to be a conversation today and not just a monologue. Like, let's talk about what we built and where we're going, because this reflection is just really important. Thank you. Bill Conrad said, you inspire us, Charles, with your courage and fearless telling it like it is. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. And hold on, because it's just me, some people were asking for the link. So you might hear some feedback because I got to get this YouTube link. Yep, there we go. So let me go ahead and get this set up for people because some folks wanted to watch live. So what normally happens is let's see. There we go. Normally, like I said, I have people we're doing this together, or I'm giving a talk, David's posting stuff, or vice versa. But to me, today is going to just be me. But I really want to hear from people, and I appreciate that, Bill. I think part of this is like, I'm shifting and I'm changing. My beliefs, I've been very strong and had a lot of this passion and things like that. And then, but also some of this stuff, man, I'm like, I don't know, bro. I look at it like some of this stuff, it's not that I don't care anymore, but it's just like, man, like when you've been saying the same thing over and over and over again, and there's just like a lot of emotion there, like I'm trying to take that emotionality out of it. I want the people that I care about to be less emotional and more rational. I want them to be more equipped with the proper tools so they can get what they want and really exercise their agency. And I think shows like this have really helped. But let's take a moment to celebrate the wins, because I know that I could be a downer out here at times. I don't mean to be a downer. So let's look at some wins that you all were part of. One of that I'm really proud of is just the new Niagara 5-city tour. And this year we completed that tour. We went from Memphis to Philadelphia to Atlanta to Houston, and then wrapped up out here in Chicago. I'm in Dalton. I'm in the south suburbs of Chicago. So right around the corner is where we wrapped up. And we brought communities together to just talk about what's working and what's not, and what we can do to make education better. And that feedback was just powerful. And people left feeling seen. They felt heard. They felt, you know, if a CEO of a school network and a principal and an educator and a parent and a bishop can't sit together and talk about the school and education in their community, then what are we doing? And we just sat out to do a larger form what we do here at the South Star Classroom. Level that playing field. Make sure everybody knows that they got some skin in this game. Making sure that everybody knows that we got to all be responsible for making this stuff better, and really getting to the essence of what education is meant to do. And a lot of people really appreciated it. And I'm looking forward to just trying to scale that up. The other thing is that a lot of you know that I run an organization called Energy Convertors. This was when we built this with originally David and Omar. It was me branching out and trying to build some more assets around, you know, that will support the nonprofit work, right? And that nonprofit work is Energy Converters, where we look at young people and we are building the next voices to come forward. Some of you all know Dirk Tillison, some of you don't. But he was one of my best friends. He was a business partner. And we tragically lost him during COVID when somebody, you know, broke into his home. And I miss my friend every day. But one of the things that he and I were both committed to was making sure young people had the same type of access and voice that we got, and training them how to do it, and training them to do it in a way where it's not just their emotions. I'm so tired, man, of our emotions just running everything. And this is me speaking for me. This is the end of year joint. I'm gonna speak very freely. I'm not moderating today. I don't have to make space for other people. Like today, it is just like, yo, let me say these things. And nobody has to agree with this. This is not supposed to go on for anybody else. But one of the biggest issues that I see in this country is that with Black people specifically, people like to play on our emotions because they know that we are an emotional people. And there's a reason, a very legitimate reason as to why we're an emotional people, right? Like there's a lot of things that have happened to us. When you look at the bottom of, you know, health disparities or education disparities or this or that or whatever in the third, you know, Black tends to be there. And a lot of things have happened to our community. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, we got to deal with that, and you got to heal from that. And at the same time, once you know better, you got to do better. And I'm not saying that people are not trying, but what I mean by that is, because people know they can play on our emotions, you tend to get platitudes outside of performance. Or like the report that I wrote earlier this year, you get pageantry over proficiency. And I just want us to be a group that's going in, understand that this is a business negotiation. Whether when we're picking a president, we're not picking who we just like, right? We're not just picking who we think might like us or love us. We keep looking for love in all these places. No, it is a business proposition. I was talking to a friend about this, and we were just breaking down King and Lyndon B. Johnson. And here's the thing, man. Do you think that Lyndon B. Johnson and Dr. Martin Luther King liked each other? Do you think LBJ loved Dr. King and Dr. King outside of him being a preacher? Like loved LBJ? I mean, he might have had agape love. For the folks that ain't church people, that's like the love of God, right? Like everybody's brother and sister, but he wasn't trying to get a beer with LBJ. But LBJ represented power, and LBJ had a lot of, you know, and with Kennedy out of there, assassinated, like our people still needed things. You still got to go and show up, and you still got to negotiate. And as we talk about, yeah, I mean, like as we talk about all this stuff that's happening right now, like in our communities, like we're cutting off conversations because we're not willing to have those negotiations. I don't care nothing about Donald Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I wasn't too in love with Kamala Harris either, but I voted for her. I wanted to vote for her. I wanted her to win over bruh, but she didn't. And there's a lot of reasons why she didn't. And we can call bruh names. We can do it. I mean, I don't care if you like them or not. I don't necessarily like them, but you still need somebody in there that's gonna do the Dr. King role of still negotiating with clear eyes for our people. That's just what that is. And Bill, I disagree. And I appreciate Bill's comment. And Bill, keep it coming so we can actually have this debate. I disagree. I do think there was a contingent of the country that did feel some kind of way and felt that that side was better than the other side. They felt some of the people did. Some of the people are racist and bigots. That's fine. Like, I think there's whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I also don't want to just summarily dismiss more than half of the voters that voted for dude, in the sense of, our people still got to live in this world. And so really with the South Star Classroom, what I was trying to get at and what I wanted to do is have these four really, well, initially three, but then we moved to four. Thank God that Jubilee came and added a different type of balance. And I think the crowd has taken to her very well. She's done an incredible job. And also, I don't know if y'all know, Jubilee is also a singer. She has a beautiful, beautiful voice. So ask her about that when she comes back on. But with these four voices is to like talk about these issues from a clear place. Like, we might get passionate about it, but the goal is for you to be like informed, so you can make informed decisions. That I'm not saying ignore your emotions. What I am saying is that don't let your emotions take over so you don't end up getting what you want. You have to negotiate at these things. And it's hard to be a good negotiator when you lead with emotion. It's just hard. It's just not good practice for negotiating. Now, you can turn those emotions into passion, and that can make you more proficient at what you're trying to do, and that can make sure that you prioritize what you actually want. But I just feel like as Democrats and as Black people, or whoever you are, whatever group you are, and I don't care what you are, I'll have a conversation with you regardless, whether you agree with me or not. Like, we got to stop accepting a parade. We got to stop accepting a march. We have to stop accepting like platitudes, man, or pageantry when we need real policy. And I think people play on that a lot. And I think that in the internet, there's been a lot of trying to turn Black people against Black people. And I think it's been working a lot this year, because what I see on the internet is not what I normally see in my real life. And hopefully you all feel like we've covered that. And Bill, it wasn't just all white people that voted for bruh. It just wasn't. And again, I can get into name calling and doing those things, but what's that gonna do? Who is that gonna help? Who gonna be better by me cracking a joke on somebody? Like, I mean, I just don't. We did this. This happened with George Bush. Y'all remember, like, when they used to make all those jokes about George Bush Jr., where it was like George W. Bush, I'm sorry, where it was like he can't even say nuclear. He says nuclear. Like, they was laughing at him the whole time, and he got reelected and and did the things that he wanted to do, and had a VP that redefined what vice presidents can do. Probably one of the most powerful VPs of all time, with decisions that we are still reeling from. I know that George W. Bush has had the rebrand of all rebrands, you know what I'm saying? But I also remember we weren't supposed to be liking him either. And so, you know, just really kind of like talking about that. I think the other thing, man, is, and I say this as a Democrat who worked in the party, who donates money, who has door knocked before, who has actively campaigned and stomped for other Democrats, including the person who just lost, by the way. I say this, man, in a way like we got to take some looks at our side of the house. And I think where Democrats jam themselves up and people can feel how they want to feel about it, the election is done, it's in, and we got to pick ourselves up off the ground and go back and try to win in the next election. But they the country started calling out the hypocrisy of Democrats. There was a lot of moral high ground. There was a lot of high siding. There was a lot of shaming other people that thought differently or did not vote in the same way. And then what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You cannot, and again, I'm not trying to compare apples and oranges, but you can't say you stand on this and you stand on this moral high ground and this, all that, and we believe in the letter of the law and all that stuff, and then lie about what's going to happen with your son and all that. And again, I don't care. I do not care that President Biden pardon his son because he is the president and he has that power to do it. But you ain't got to lie about it. Or if you're going to lie about it and do it, then don't be the people that try to stand on this moral high ground. It makes it really difficult when people are trying to like speak and argue on your behalf. And I know a lot of my friends disagree with that notion, but I come from the world of debate. I come from a world where, like, you know, I still believe in logic and I still believe in the rules of debate and argument. And I believe in math. And if it's true on this side, whatever you do to this side, you got to do to the other one. So, but democracy played out, and it is what it is. And we didn't like the result. And I think that we covered that in the ways that we knew how to cover it, while also bringing in elements of education and making sure you all left not just with our opinions or our emotions, right, but also facts that you can utilize and think about, right? So when they talk about closing the Department of Education, again, I went to 2 comedy shows in the last week, right? Loved them. Both comedy shows, there was mention of who, you know, the WWE lady is in charge of the Department of Education. I'm in education. I've interviewed, I think, the last Department of Education. Like I have an interview with John B. King. I'll put it up. Super dope dude. We had a great conversation. Here's where this is what I'm talking about the facts. Here's what people are missing. He didn't hire that woman to know about education. He didn't hire her because he believes in her acumen around education. He hired her because she was the CEO of a corporation, however you feel about that corporation, and he's trying to shut that thing down. He has hired somebody to sunset the thing. Now, I like the jokes. I laughed at the jokes when they came out, but I'm like, damn, this is where a lot of people gonna get that information. It's like, that really ain't what's happening here, you know? I just don't put my faith in politicians in that way. And I think that we tend to look for politicians to be our friends or lovers or people that we want to be around or be with or desire and those things, right? Kennedy won an entire election because the advent of television and a television interview, and he was a handsome person who was articulate, and his opponent Nixon was not ready for this new medium. He was sweaty. He was like disheveled. He did not have the same panache. And that is a huge reason why Kennedy won in the way that he won, according to history, because I wasn't there. But I'm a poli-sci major. I do like politics. I read about it. I study it. But that was one of the huge and essential turning points, right? Now, I'm glad we got Kennedy. I don't know if Kennedy's family is glad they got Kennedy, because maybe they would still have, you know, maybe he would have lived a longer life. But the point that I'm making is that we as a people, and I'm including you all in my family in this, we have to be able to look at the facts and be calm and make those decisions. I know that was a rant, but I'll bring it back to Energy Converters. That's what we do with Energy Converters. I do not care what these young people, like, what their thoughts are. I don't care if their thoughts believe in mine or they agree or they disagree. What I care about is that whatever they say, they can prove it. Whatever they say, I can tell that they have done some critical thinking. I can tell that they have been able to engage with multiple sides of an argument, multiple issues, without their emotions getting in the way. I think that is what will save us in the future. That's what I think. That's what I think. And let me read from Bill. Bill, keep it coming, man. Today I'm reading, unless you say something crazy. As long as you ain't cursing and saying the crazy stuff you normally say, I will put it up here, Bill. But we have sponsors. Can I lose my little McDonald's sponsor? Because by putting up some crazy stuff that you done said. But here's what Bill said. He said, we have to be careful about the moral equivalency. The fascist Republican code is illegitimate. You can uphold a lie that you won a free and fair election and incite an insurrection. I mean, I hear you, Bill. I don't know what you think is gonna come from that. Like, I just don't. And again, maybe you're not at the whim of what this dude does or what this administration does, but you live in Chicagoland like I live in Chicagoland. You live in a place where some of the things that those people have issues with, like, has reared its head. There was a lot of Black people that felt a way about the lack of immigration laws and migrant work and migrant folks coming into Chicago and the resources that they took. I've talked with them. I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen it, right? So like, again, how are we having these conversations and what do our negotiation tactics look like? I think if we all become more focused on actual goals and the things that we need, I think we'll do a lot better. And that's what we're doing with Energy Converters, right? It grew in a big way. You know, we went national in our cohort. We hired some more staff. I built programming that's giving young people the tools to find their agency and to lead. And, you know, watching these fellows step into their power has just been one of the most rewarding parts of my year. And soon each of them will have their own type of show. They have their own audience. They have their own people that they're talking to. We have to make sure we prepare these young people to be able to think critically. I think one of the things we've sacrificed over the last 20 years, honestly, is we have traded tribalism. We've taken on tribalism to a different degree, and what we lost in the exchange was critical thinking. I think critical thinking happens by top people on either side to make a better case for their side, but I don't know if people are looking at information from a neutral standpoint and then making a decision of what will help our people, their people, whatever the case is. Because I'm not surprised by any of that stuff. And again, Bill Conrad said people are going to die from the policies of the soon-to-be fascist administration. Two things can be true at once. Were people not dying under Democrat regimes? Has that not happened? Did we not bomb people? I love Obama. I love Barack Obama. Anytime I get a chance to see him talk, I'm there. He's one of the best orators in history. He is one of the best speakers I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in my life. And he droned the shit out of people. What are we talking about? Again, man, this is like, you know what? Because this is the reason why this is tough. And I wish I had like another voice here because you have to bounce that off. I do not like Donald Trump. I do not. I will never be a Republican. It will never, ever, ever, ever happen. But I don't know if I'll be a Democrat forever either. I think being independent is probably going to be the way to go for it, because I think the Democrats have lost the things that made them special. I think they lost being the party of the working class people. I think they have lost just being able to understand people that came up in a struggle and are trying to just do the best they can with what they got. I think we became the party of people where if my grandmother was alive, she wouldn't understand a lot of the terms being used. I think that that's just what I think. I think that there is a center there. I think you can find your way back, but I don't know if that'll happen. And I think it's going to be an interesting next 4 years, next 8 years. But I pray for our country and I pray for our people. And I want whoever's leading our country, I want people to do well, man. I come from a military family, brothers Army, dad's Marine, uncles Marine, cousins Marines. I just want better for us. And that just leads me to South Star Classroom, man. This podcast has been such a godsend. Like I said, man, I can't thank David, Omar, and Jubilee enough. I mean, they're just so brilliant. And it also makes me want to thank Chris and Sharif and Ray. I just named 6 people that I got to build incredible things with, and they're all very different. And we all push each other in different ways. And, I'm proud of South Star Classroom. South Star Classroom, to be fair, Sharif in my mind is a celebrity. And I mean, I look up to Sharif. I admire him. I love him, man. He is truly a big brother of mine. And he's also a celebrity. He comes with an audience. People will tune in to see him. Chris is a nation leading voice on education, on politics, and he's continuing to grow it. And I'm just really happy for his endeavors. I just am so excited to see what he does. Same with Ray. Ray tends to have his hands in a bunch of different things. He evokes emotion and passion out of people. And so then when we started doing this group, it's kind of the opposite, right? Like none of us came in with like that built-in audience per se. We did get some people from A Black Hands, but it was a little different. And everybody here wasn't speaking partially for a living, right? Like David is a mentor and a friend and has been like a big brother to me, especially in that Oakland education scene. He and I used to get in a lot of trouble from the opposite side, also from our friends, because we always just kind of spoke that truth. I will stand with David Castillo in any war, in any battle. He is just a good, honest, decent man. He's a great father. And he can build the hell out of a school and lead a school. And two, he's just so thoughtful and humble in who he is as a person. And that brings me to Omar. I remember meeting Omar. We met at Omar and I met at an 8 Black Hands. It was the first ever live show 8 Black Hands had ever done. And Omar was just dope, man. He came up, talked to us, met us, and I'm not one of those people. I get this a lot, right? I'm going off on another tangent, but stay with me, y'all. And keep the comments coming. I will continue to answer. If you hear, just say hi. I'll say it back to you. I want to just know who you are and your name. We got about 25 of you all in here right now. So we'll just keep that thing going, right? But Omar, I love him. And he came up and he gave his number. What I was about to say is I've dealt with people everywhere I go. I just dealt with this at the National Black Caucus Association meeting in DC, where Kamala did come speak. Got to see her. But it was so many people. Here go my number. Here go my name. Let's get together. Let's link. Let's do that. And, I try to take all this stuff, jot it down, try to reach out. Don't none of them people follow up. They just don't. And I ain't saying they bad people, but it's just something people do. They just come up and they just talk shit, right? Like, it's just a social thing that we just deem to be okay. I try not to do that unless I'm really going to follow up. Omar followed up. And Omar and I grew another show, and it was just fun. And, it went through some restructuring, and then we eventually built out the South Star Classroom. But Omar is just one of the smartest, sharpest cats that I know. And he just is a fun dude, man. Omar is just fun. Like, if you ever get the chance to kick it or hang out with Omar, man, you are going to be in for a good time. I love when he tells his stories. I love his lineage. He has such a rich lineage. His family is from all over the globe. And I just love listening to him. And Omar also brought us Jubilee. And love to Omar, because it wasn't even a discussion. He was like, this Jubilee person, let her fill in. She's going to do this show with you, but I think she should be with us. And there was no argument from David or myself. Jubilee brings in a different aspect to the show. It is 3 guys. It is a lot of testosterone. And she does have this conciliatory sharpness, this emotional intelligence, just a beautiful soul and a beautiful spirit. And she forces us to be better. Her and I have our banter because it just is what it is, and I love it. I want more of it. And the one thing that I do try to push us all on is like, yo, we're not a panel. We don't have to agree on everything. In fact, let's pull those threads of where we don't agree, because the people that benefit from that, of us having to articulate our points and our arguments and why we're making those, is the audience. It is the audience. That was the one I would say. I mean, 8 Black Hands is good at a lot of things, but one of the biggest lessons I took from 8 Black Hands is every episode, the crowd had somebody that they loved and somebody that they hated. And trust me, we heard about it every single week. Those fans were, and still are, some of the most loyal people I've ever seen. Shout out to Mama Toya, who's probably in here now. And so here with the South Star Classroom, I'm just really looking forward, to our continued growth and the more people that they continue to bring in and getting better. And everybody's getting better every single week. And we do that with you all. And I do want to do more shows where we bring guests up, where guests are host, or get to be actual guests on the show. And like, I want you to go through the process. I want you to pre-read and do some research and come on and make your point. Because it's your platform, it's your show. And so, but this is where I want your input though. Like, what have you loved about the podcast this year? Let me know so I can pass it on to the team, because, they don't always see all the comments the way I get to see it, because I'm in the back end. I see everything that comes up, David and I. So what are the things that you like? What do you want to see more of in 2025? Drop it in the comments. I'm listening. And let me be clear, while I'm proud of these wins, I'm also just setting the stage for next year, because if you know me, I'm not stopping here. I believe we can do more and reach more people and create an even bigger impact. Listen, man, this is, I'll be very vulnerable and direct and honest with you all. I am a workaholic. I cannot settle. I am far too ambitious. And that ambition has taken me from shelters to like becoming a doctor. That ambition has taken me from working different menial jobs to running 2 successful-ish companies. I won't just say that because I won't say they're successful because I don't want to jinx it. But see, that's the part of it. I'm never satisfied. And that's good in some points. In some ways, it is not. And it makes me a hard person to work with at times. It makes me a hard person to be around. But I know what something can be, and I got to drive to it. And I'm either going to hit a home run or I'm going to fall because I'm swinging so hard and whiffing that the weight of the bat and my minutia of me turning around trying to hit that thing outside of the ballpark is going to carry me off the bag and I'm going to fall with my face in the dirt. Oh, well, that's the only way I know how to be. I don't know how to be any other way. I don't know how to be content or comfortable because the truth is I came up in an environment that was not comfortable, where you could not be content. A lot of that shit I work on with a therapist, right? You don't want to you don't want to mess up personal relationships. You don't want to lose friends or lose romantic interest or whatever the case is because you don't know how to accept greatness and love that's in front of you. But what I will say is where you benefit is that means that you're always going to get a product that is getting better and better. So let me go ahead and see what else Bill got. And I want, seriously, if you are in here, drop a comment, whether you are on Twitter, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching, even if you're saying hi, let us shout you out. All right. Bill Conrad said, we have a fundamental structure issue with the K-12 education system. The colleges of education are a joke. Teachers and administrators overall are very poorly prepared. I would say this, man. The next segment, I was going to talk about growing business and expanding reach, but let's do this, Bill. Let's have this conversation, right? And if you want to, pop in, send me a message. Say you want to pop in, I'll find if you got an email, maybe I'll send you a link. Well, I should have told you beforehand so you can hop on and be on the camera. But we know this, Bill. Like, this is what I'm saying. We've been saying the same thing since we started. This is what I say in my talks now. If I go to one more education conference and a person that got paid a lot of money to get flown out, put in a nice hotel and to be the keynote speaker, and they say the line, the system is not failing or broken. The system is doing what it was designed to do. And they get thunderous applause, I'm going to start booing. I've been hearing that shit for over 20 years. We all know this. We all know it. But here's the reason why nobody does anything about it, because it's easier to just state the obvious in applause lines that everybody knows and agrees with than actually putting yourself out there and doing something to change it, because nobody wants to fail in front of people. The same argument about standardized tests has been happening since No Child Left Behind. The test is racist, this, that, and the third, all that. But all these smart people know that there needs to be some kind of standardized way in which we are measuring success so that we can also report out on that success. That's just general critical thinking, general knowledge around. There needs to be a standard by which we can judge A, B, and C. And we'll look at X factors. We'll look at race. We'll look at class. We'll look at upbringing. We'll look at poverty rates. We'll look at those things. But there has to be something that measures, right? Everybody agrees that they feel like those tests are biased, culturally biased. Well, with all these smart people, the irony is that this is in the field of education, people that teach us. Why haven't we just improved that model? Where's the prototype? Where's the new thing that's going to kind of be in there? And I know that there's corruption. I know that there's big business. I know that there's capitalism. But again, you have to invent something new. You got to build something new. And I just don't see us doing it. So yes, man, sure, people are poorly prepared. Absolutely, they're poorly prepared. You're not wrong, Bill. They are poorly prepared. But then what? I wrote a book, you wrote a book. Between us, maybe 500 people read those books? I've traveled the country and give talks on it. It's not making the dent that we needed to make. What is the next step? I think what Sharif is doing with his Black Teacher Project, his Center for, that's Black Teacher Project is a different organization. run by Misha Mosley, who I love. She's incredible. You should go check her out. But Center for Black Educator Development, like they're doing a lot of that stuff, right? Where they're trying to give better training, culturally relevant training, building stuff around these people. That's what I'm talking about. People that actually shake things up. Sharif isn't just a celebrity, and he probably gonna get mad that I'm saying that, but it's just out of respect, right? But he isn't revered just because of his name. It's because he does something every single day. He had to go testify in Congress about it. The next week, it was a hit piece written about him. Now, if you know Sharif El-Mekki, you know this is one of the sweetest men, sweetest people, will give you the clothes off his back. His family is welcoming. Like, these are just incredible people. But that's the price. That's the price. And who's ready to make that price, to pay that price? Nobody likes it. We're the generation of people that say, I am not my ancestors. You catch these hands. But we get turned off from doing the right thing because we don't want somebody to tweet mean things about us. Meanwhile, these people got dogs and Bill Connor on their ass. Meanwhile, these people were in basements, church basements in 100-degree weather, getting ketchup and mustard poured on them for training because they were about to practice nonviolent protests and they knew that their lives and safety would be in imminent danger. Don't you ever fix your mouth or allow somebody to fix their mouth and disrespect our ancestors like that when all they doing is tweeting. Don't ever. It's so disrespectful. And I get the sentiment, right? I get the sentiment that times has changed and you just not going to be able to ride in on these things or do whatever. I get that. And I agree with the sentiment of us moving it forward. But damn, can we do that sentiment without shitting on our elders and ancestors who actually put in that work? Some of them lost their lives, lost loved ones. Can we do that? Okay. It's probably why I don't need my own show, because I get off topic and rant a lot. But y'all are rocking with me. If don't nobody else rock, Bill will rock with me. Wherever I go, be it Bill, I have a conversation. But that does bring me to this next segment because I want to, expand this reach, right? And I want to grow this work, and I do want to make it more sustainable. We're talking about things that we can actually do. One of my priorities for 2025 is deepening connections with my favorite audience. And I call these people the church moms and dads. Like, I've been all over this country and I will speak and work with anybody. And it's not, they don't have to be in like a church, a Baptist church, whatever, Muslim, whatever. What I'm saying, there's a prototype, there's a phenotype of person that tends to come to my talks. And they really care about their kids' education, but they don't know how to navigate this system. And they feel guilty because they don't know how to navigate that system. And they feel guilty because, there's things about this public education, traditional education, charter education, private homeschooling that they just don't know. And what I love working with that group, because one, I have to have a whole box of Kleenex every time I do it, because the top thing we're doing is having them let go of that guilt. You got to let that guilt go. It ain't your fault that that's what the reality is, but now we're putting you in a position where you will have more information. You will be able to advocate better. I do that in education. I also did in healthcare for 6 years. I'll do it wherever our people are. I don't see those things disconnected. I see a family doctor as intricate to the family structure as a great teacher and school leader. The same way I see them as deeply connected in that community to somebody that runs a mosque or a church. The same way as I see somebody that has a 501c3 nonprofit in that community. The same way I see elders that we have just forgotten how to engage and pass that wisdom on from and down to our young people and having those conversations. We have gotten so good at compartmentalizing that it has cost us our community dynamic. Almost up there with the way in which this country tried to remove Black fathers from the home and did a whole smear campaign for 30 years talking about how Black men don't love their kids, when research just came out showing that Black dads are some of the most interwoven, important figures and active figures in their families. What are we doing? See, when we talk about expanding this, and why I want to have these conversations, is I would say this, and this is back thinking about our ancestors. Think of it like this, and let me finish before you judge what I say. And I say this with love because I love my people and I've sacrificed and I've put on for my people. Trust me. Check my jacket. Check the money that I put into places like Oakland and Indianapolis. Check the commitment that I have to the Midwest and Kentucky that a lot of people don't know that I used to live in, but I love dearly, dearly. And I also understand some of those white people that felt the kind of way because I lived in those areas. It's hard for some of those people that grew up in those trailer parks to grasp that they got privilege. Got to break that down. There's a way to do that. Study Fred Hampton, who was able to unite these people together. Also, I was born in the exact same neighborhood as Fred Hampton. So for the people that like to say I'm not from Chicago, you say I'm not from Chicago, then you saying Fred Hampton ain't either because we're both from Maywood, like blocks away. Families was connected. Anyway, let me continue. For our ancestors, think of it like this. There are big R issues and there are small R issues. Racism, right? What we failed to do that they did so much better than us is that they were able to prioritize the big R issues of racism and condense it down to different type of policies, right? So voting acts or civil rights acts or things like that, right? That handles that. What we have done, which we think is empowering, but it is actually a divide and conquer tactic, is that every small R issue that comes across our way, it takes our attention. Our eyes are darting. We're ADHD and we're losing focus. Some random white kid in Vermont can get on Twitch and say all type of N-word this and N-word that. And then everybody is focused on that insignificant person and making them significant. I'm not saying that should just ride or slide or whatever, right? I'm not saying that, but it shouldn't cost you. It shouldn't cost us solidarity in the big R issues. It just shouldn't. You also, in war and in battle and in business, you have to respect, not like, you have to respect the opponent. What do I mean by that? Not a Republican at all. Not even a little bit. Don't like their leaders. Here's what I can take from them, though. What I can take from them is they stay focused on what the hell they want. They don't care what the people they voting for done did in the past. They don't give a damn if they got cases. They don't give a damn if they got 8 wives. They don't care if they closeted gay, but still come out against all this gay stuff. They don't care. You know what they care about? Are you voting in my interests? That's what opened the door for Trump. He just plays to his crowd. He plays to his crowd. They're focused on the larger thing. Is this person going to serve us? We eat our own all the time. We eat them. And then we're like, oh, how are we weakened here? Al Franken was a good politician, man. I don't care how you feel. He was. He was a strong voice. He was articulate. He was able to bring things to the American people. He was able to make them laugh. He was able to take these political things, know when to be serious, but also put some jovial like nature behind it. And he had a following. I'm not excusing what do you remember what he did? Because everybody's posturing. Everybody likes to ask, say, Charles, what do you read? And I read a lot of books. I read a lot of thick books and all that stuff. I write books. But you know the book that I think everybody should read? I think it's the most profound thing that I've ever read, and I've read a lot. Outside of the Bible, which I also think is a very profound book, text. The Emperor's Clothes, or The Emperor Has No Clothes, whatever the actual title is. It is the greatest story that is most relative to the times we are living in. Everybody is naked. But nobody can actually say it out loud, because if you acknowledge it, then you got to acknowledge that you also are wearing false threads. The road to salvation is not trying to be the cleanest and the squeakiest, boo. I'm telling you, bruh. I'm telling you. It is not trying to be just better than the next person so you can look down on somebody. Everybody's struggling. Everybody gets depressed. Everybody got trauma. Everybody is struggling with self-fulfillment. Everyone. But we so busy pocket watching other people. We're so busy trying to bring people down a peg so we can feel better about ourselves. Oh shit, is that a dotted line to trying to vote for a mayor, governor, or president that you like as a person as opposed to their policies? Stop looking at these business people, these politicians, these CEOs. Stop looking at them like you want to be their friends. They don't want to be your friend, even if y'all believe in the same thing. Go get real friends. Get off the internet and go get real friends, or find your community on the internet and then go out with them. You need to socialize. And I am the hermit. I don't like going nowhere. I travel for a living. I live in one of the most beautiful, I live 10 minutes from the most beautiful metropolitan city in my mind in the world. Chicago is beautiful and has everything in it that you could want. And I do not go out very often, but I will every now and then, because touching grass is important. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. So, one of my priorities this year is to expand that reach, is to work in my communities, continue the work that I've done in Oakland. I don't matter how big we get, don't matter what I do here in the Midwest, Oakland will always be flagship for Energy Converters. It just always will be. We will always have an Oakland contingent. I'm never going to forget the places that I grew up in. I was homeless, bro. I went to 11 elementary schools across the country. I lived in shelters all over. I lived in 2 in Oakland, 2 in San Francisco. I stayed with family members in city, outside the city, all over. This auntie's house, this uncle's house, whatever. I live with my granny in Lincoln Court in Paducah, Kentucky, and then live with my parents in Elmwood Court. I've been all these places. I have to build something for Oakland. I have to build something for Paducah. I have to build something for Maywood or the greater Chicagoland area or whatever. And I have. And I'm not satisfied. And so what I will commit myself to doing is trying to broker more deals that allows me to take those profits and reinvest them with the people that I love and care, the same way I did in Memphis. I love the Memphis Lift. Spend my own bread to go out there and work with those people, and I'll do it again, right? I love going to Philadelphia. Sharice people always treats me great. I love Atlanta, the community there that took us in. And I want to do 5 more cities in the new Niagara, but I got to make sure I do this business part right so we can get more funding and do it again. And then whatever profits I got, they go to the people that can't afford to book somebody like me to come. And I will continue to do it for free. I will continue to be up on December 31st while everybody else deserves and should be resting. This is just what I like to do. I would not have been happy not doing this. I was miserable not doing the show last week. I was miserable. I like working. I really do. I really, really, really do. I really do. If you're going to be a friend of mine or somebody who dates me or somebody that wants to be in my social circle, it's just something you have to know about me. It just is. So we're going to work on those expansions, and I will keep you all posted. But here's the other thing that I'm really excited about. You guys ready for this? I'm saying it here because y'all are going to hold me accountable now, and I'm saying it. There's a new podcast that will be launching on the Energy Converter side of things. And right now it is tentatively called How to Be Successful. And this is a first for my Energy Converters national cohort. And these are college-age young people and high school-age young people. And it'll bring together those students, their parents, educators, and community members to talk about what success really means. And it's going to ultimately be led by them. Me and my staff might, host in the beginning or co-host or whatever, but ultimately it's going to be theirs. It's a platform for them to get their chops in. I have a cohort of 18. I bought all of them cameras. They all got nice, fancy microphones. They all are learning lighting. They all are learning where they stand. they're reading things and doing research now that questions and pushes what their conventional wisdom is. They are going to be critical thinkers. And I will stand behind them. I might have two young people that are diabolically opposed to each other in what they think and what they believe, but as long as they're doing their research and critically thinking, I will stand behind them and fight whoever, metaphorically or not, because they will be running this shit and very soon. And we have lied to them and we have done them a disservice. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes on it, but that's okay. Make mistakes fast so you can learn and grow from it. I fail way more than I succeed. You know, if the South Star Classroom has taught you anything about that, we will take those risks. Some of them pan out, some of them don't. But you got to grow from it. Does anybody remember Google Wave? I'll give you an example. I'm sorry you're miserable, man. I put up an hour-long speech that I gave, brother. It was like my Netflix moment, man. That was like my big. It's like the biggest talk I ever gave, Bill. Damn. But Google Wave was this program, and I was a beta tester on it a long time ago. And this is where, you know, I could be typing on something in the doc and on a whiteboard, and then Bill could be typing on something, and David could be typing on something, and it flopped. It failed, right? But you know what it was? It was the beginnings of Google Docs that we have now, of Google Office. A lot of things have to be sacrificed on the road to greatness and prominence. They just do. Hey, Chad, that's what's up, man. Shout out to your moms, man, and thank you for joining us, Chad. Tell us a little bit more about you. Ask your questions. Give some comments, brother. You are now part of the show. Everybody, welcome Chad. Bill and Chad are my co-hosts today. Thank you. We're almost done. So that is that's what needs to that's what needs to happen. Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Thank you. But there's one more announcement that I'll make. The second podcast that I will be announcing is going to be a solo one. And I'm still going to do these. And part of it is because I need to be able to have this type of space, this unfiltered space, this space where I'm not orchestrating the full show in my head or having to, like, you know, host at the same time. And I also don't want anybody to be pulled into my BS. Like, if I say something, I don't want other people catching flack for it. I've been through that before. I don't like it. And I'm very protective over the people that I work with. Ask the 8 Black Hands. It's been multiple times where they have to be like, hey, bro, just chill, please. Like, why you don't just, you know, I do not have that gene yet. I'm working on it, but I don't have it yet. So it's a space just for me to have my unfiltered thoughts on education, culture, and the world. And I haven't locked in the name yet. Maybe Unfiltered with Dr. Cole or The Cold Truth. Just thinking about that. But if you got suggestions, drop it in the comments. I really want to know what your suggestions are. But here's the truth. I don't have a big production budget. But if you are interested in learning more about podcast production and helping with the creation, especially of that solo project, or learning how to edit or want to grow with me, reach out. However you are, leave a comment here. I'll put my email up so people can reach out directly to me. Let me put it in the comments, actually. Okay, I got some names. Thank you, Dr. Warren. I like that. Here's my email address. Oh, wait, let me get these first. Improvisational Charles. Okay, I like that. I like that. Cold Truth. Yeah. Yeah, I just see the merch with Cold Truth. You feel me? So I like that too. Here's my email address. I'll leave that up there for a while. If there's something that you're interested in or want your kid to be interested in or whatever the case is, like, we will build this thing together. And I ain't got a lot of bread, so don't come expecting some money. But when I get some, I will shoot you something. But or I will, you know, in kind or whatever the case is. But I know I'm gonna need help. Because even managing this on my own, I still can't fully go there because I have to still watch everything. But let me go ahead and start to wrap this up though, man. And I just really appreciate, everybody for this piece. I'm gonna just bust through this. All right. So, as we look ahead to 2025, here's the vision. For New Niagara, I want to build these localized hubs where work just doesn't stop after the events. I want communities to be self-sustainable. I want communities to be the bosses of public education. I just do. That's what it's built for. That's how it should go. There's a shared leadership model there. For Energy Converters, the focus is scaling intentionally. I want to make sure our systems are strong and our impact is deep. For this podcast, I want to grow our listenership exponentially. I want this to be a space where ideas meet action and where every listener feels like they're a part of something bigger. I want the fans and guests here that have something to say and they really want to take a crack at this. I want them to reach out so we can help support you and train you and make you a guest on the show so you will have that platform. You have to feel ownership of it. That's the only way this thing goes where it needs to go. Like, those are the things I want. In 2025, I look forward to writing another book. I've written a lot of free ebooks this year. I look forward to writing even more of those. Shout out to my team that I know loves that I write these books and give them away for free because it is a horrible business model. That was sarcasm. They do not like it. They say you can really be charging for this stuff, and we should be. But God has blessed me thus far, and as long as He allows me to do it, I will always, even alongside, I might sell a few things here, but the vast majority of what I give away for free. And you can have it. Go to the website, Charles Cole III, like charlescode3rd.com. There are so many resources there. You can have all of it. It is definitely free. And I'm just looking for that, man. So before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to everybody, that has listened. Everybody who supported, everybody who shared their ideas this year. It just doesn't work without you. Even you, Bill, you, my man, again, about 65% of the shit that you say in the comments, I cannot put on screen. But I love your energy. I love the enthusiasm. I don't always agree, but you are a very, very faithful friend to the show. And I feel like, and I know your heart, regardless of what we agree on or not. I think you got a good heart. That's thank yous to Mama Toya, to Dr. Warren, to Chad, who just came in. To all the people that come in and show love or send me messages offline, or some days I guess I'll be looking crazy some days, and sometimes I get a random message like, "Are you okay? Are you eating? Are you doing?" Yeah, I'm eating. I'm fat right now. Got to lose that weight. I'm working on that, but we getting there though. I'm all right, getting there. But the care is felt. Again, the good thing about doing this without the crew today is I get to kind of gush on them without them getting embarrassed by it. Like, I truly love those people. I love Jubilee. I love Omar, and I love David. And I owe them so much for believing in me, believing in this thing, and they take it and they move it forward. Honestly, without David sets up everything behind the scenes for us at this point. He's making sure, we got the links out and the stuff is organized, and just because I don't have the time to do it, and he's great at it. Omar can be in the Galapagos Mountains or somewhere. He could be. Omar is. I think Omar is James Bond. I really do. He is where you spin the globe, drop your finger. Omar is probably there right now, but he always, when he can, makes time for this pod. And when he's not here, it's because he really can't be here. And again, and I think Jubilee has just softened us all up in ways that only Jubilee can, especially me. It is truly, it is truly a blessing and an honor. And we don't get here without the 8 Black Hands. So Ray, Chris, and Sharif, just thank you all as well. And go check out all of their endeavors. They're all doing some incredible things. This is about momentum. This is about a family, and I'm not the biggest family guy, but the people that do work with me, that are in the foxholes with me, and have been and will be, and I think that for some of the people here, I've shown up for, flown there, going into my pocket, going into my wallet, whatever. This is something more special than just what some numbers are. So I'm really grateful, and let's just take everything that we built and use it to create something bigger. Because right now, 3 out of 10 Black kids are not reading on grade level. And that number is not that much better in other groups, if at all. And There's far too much money in the world. There's far too much access. We should not be failing at this thing more now per capita, per person, than people who were in chains in slavery. And then they got their freedom and started to build their own schools and make sure people were literate. We should not be equal to that. We should be far surpassing it with everything that we have access to. We just should. We just should. You know, this is not, I don't like when people pander. I don't like when people pander to me. Be you. Say what you want. Like, we can negotiate. We ain't got to agree. Like, I don't want to pander to y'all. I'm not going to. We are smarter than this. We are smarter than our outputs. At least a bunch of the people that I talked to today could be their own information hubs. That's how smart they are. Do y'all know who Dr. Kiana Warren is? Like, have you like look her up? Like, she probably don't like the attention. She is brilliant. She runs an incredible school. Like, do you know what Mama Toya does in Philadelphia? Like, with these grandmas and going into schools and like libraries. She's taken one of my free books and like taught lessons there. Like, look her up. Like, we got some incredible people in this tribe. Jamoke Hinton Hodge, who is was a school board member in Oakland, also one of my best friends and forever will be, and put it all out there. Like, her heart for this stuff, man, like, it's brilliant. Elaine Brown, the first woman to run the Panthers when we had to go to Cuba. She's the one who made me write my book. She cussed me out and told me I was writing that book. That lady, that Black Panther lady who is like just royalty to me, like, has sat and talked with me for hours and hours. You feel me? Like, there's incredible people. There's incredible people. And if we want the type of communities that we want for our kids and our communities and where we want to go, and this Black excellence or brown excellence or whatever it is, we have to stop expecting people that are not, it is not in their DNA code to love us. Stop expecting them to love you. Stop begging that, man. That's sad. We don't need to do that. You come from a people that has been self-sufficient. A people that has built things, and they might have tore it down, but then we rebuilt it better. Like, we got a lot of access and money between us and smarts and passion. You can't tell me this is it. You can't tell me this is the best we can do. So take the microcosm of me talking about what I want to do at this podcast and my work, but expand it to yourself. What do you want to do for next year? I ain't saying you got to burn yourself out or be like me. I ain't saying you got to be a workaholic. I ain't saying you got to like skip out on your wife or your husband. I ain't saying that you got to neglect your kids. I ain't saying that you can't have a social life. But why is your community better because you in it? Fucking New Year's resolution. Let's talk about a new community formation. And with that, I'm out of here. Thank y'all. Please have an incredible, safe New Year's Eve and going into the new year. I ain't perfect. I ain't trying to be. You ain't got to be perfect either. We all got our shadow side. We all got our shadow self. We all got the things we struggle with. And that ain't the world's business. Stop letting the pressures of social media and the fakeness of that shit steer you or make you feel any different kind of way. Because you live a real life and you have a real opportunity to make real active change. So what is your commitment going to be? What are you going to do? Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I will see you all in the new year. God bless. McDonald's and our outdated commercial, but it still got the general information in there. Take us on home. Peace, y'all.
Today's episode of BS3 Network is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's is going to McDonald's and creating a universe for longtime fans of both McDonald's and anime. I love sauce on my McNuggets and can't wait to try the savory chili McDonald's sauce. It's savory, chili, and bold. For decades, across various episodes and genres, McDonald's has shown up in the anime world and most commonly called WickDonald's. McDonald's will be bringing the WickDonald's world to life with episodic shorts and manga comics. For a limited time, anime fans will have the opportunity to experience their favorite fictional restaurant. You have until March 25th to try the new savory chili WickDonald's sauce with your 10-piece chicken nuggets.